Hey everyone, tonight we're diving into the wild world of Latvian economics. Latvia, for those of you playing along at home, is a small but mighty country in Northern Europe. Think beautiful beaches, dense forests, and enough history to make your head spin faster than a breakdancing bear. Latvia's location on the Baltic Sea has made it a prime target for, well, everyone. Vikings, Germans, Swedes, Russians, they've all taken a turn at running the show. And you know what that means? A seriously messy economic history. But hey, who doesn't love a good economic roller coaster ride? Hold on tight, folks, because we're about to take you on a Latvian adventure that's more exhilarating than a potato-powered potato sack race. Let's rewind to the good old days, back when nights were shiny, plagues were rampant, and Latvia was a hotbed for trade. Yes, you heard that right. Latvia was bustling with activity, and not just the kind that involved swords and shields. That's right, folks. Before iPhones and Amazon Prime, Latvia was making bank, or bartering chickens, thanks to its strategic location. Nestled by the Baltic Sea, it was the perfect spot for merchants to gather and exchange goods from all over Europe. First up, we've got the Hanseatic League, a powerful trading alliance that made the Baltic Sea their own personal swimming pool. This league wasn't just a club, it was a network of cities that dominated trade in the region, and Latvia was right in the thick of it. Latvia, being a team player and all, joined the party and got busy exporting timber, flax, and anything else they could get their hands on. These goods were in high demand, and Latvia's economy flourished as a result. Then came the Swedes, who decided that conquering Latvia was a better idea than, inventing IKEA furniture. They took over and brought their own set of rules and regulations. Despite the whole being ruled by a foreign power thing, Latvia's economy kept chugging along, thanks in part to Swedish reforms that actually weren't terrible. These reforms helped streamline trade and improve infrastructure, making it easier for merchants to do business. But just when things were starting to look up, along came the Russians. They had their eyes on Latvia's strategic location and resources. More on that later. Fast forward a few centuries and Latvia's finally like, okay, we're over this whole empire thing. It's 1991. The Soviet Union's crumbling faster than a stale cookie, and Latvia's finally free to be its own boss. But freedom, as it turns out, is expensive, and confusing, and kind of terrifying, like that moment when you realize you're home alone and you hear a weird noise. Suddenly, Latvia had to figure out this whole running a country thing all by itself. Spoiler alert, it didn't go smoothly. Imagine trying to bake a cake with no recipe, a broken oven, and a bunch of pigeons flying around your kitchen. That's basically what Latvia's economy looked like in the early 90s. Hyperinflation? Check. Unemployment? Check. General sense of impending doom? Double check. But hey, at least they were independent, right? Remember 1992? Nirvana was topping the charts, everyone was rocking double denim, and Latvia's GDP was doing a swan dive off a very steep cliff. We're talking a 30% drop, folks. That's not a recession, that's an economic meteor strike. Why so bad? Well, imagine you're a factory in Latvia used to selling stuff to the whole Soviet Union. Suddenly, the Soviet Union doesn't exist, and your biggest customer is now a bunch of independent countries who are all just as broke as you are. Awkward. Add to that a severe case of we have no idea what we're doing syndrome, and you've got yourself a recipe for economic disaster. But fear not, dear reader, because Latvia is about to pull off a move so impressive, it'll make you want to break out your best Macarena moves. Section 5, From Rubble to Rubles, Latvia's 1995 comeback. Just when you thought Latvia's economy was destined to wander the earth like a sad, lost puppy, something magical happened. It's 1995 and Latvia's GDP is like, hold my beer, watch this, and proceeds to grow by a whopping 1%. Okay, so maybe 1% doesn't sound that impressive. But in the post-Soviet economic wasteland, it was practically a miracle. Many neighboring countries were still grappling with severe economic downturns, and Latvia's modest growth was a beacon of hope. How did they do it? What was the secret sauce that turned things around? Well, they did that thing that responsible adults do when they're in a financial hole. They got their act together. They rolled up their sleeves and got to work. Latvia introduced a new currency, the lat, which sounds like something you'd order at a fancy coffee shop. This move was crucial in stabilizing the economy and restoring confidence among the people. They also implemented some much-needed reforms like telling corruption to take a hike and making friends with foreign investors. These steps were essential in creating a more transparent and attractive business environment. It wasn't easy, but slowly but surely, Latvia's economy started to resemble something other than a dumpster fire. New businesses began to sprout, markets became more vibrant, and the overall economic landscape started to show signs of life. The journey was long and arduous, but Latvia's 1995 comeback is a testament to the resilience and determination of its people. They turned a dire situation into a story of hope and recovery. Section 6. Joining the EU, Latvia gets a VIP pass to prosperity. The year 2000 rolls around, Y2K turns out to be a bust, and Latvia is feeling pretty good about itself. So good, in fact, that it decides to apply for the ultimate economic club, the European Union. And guess what? They got in. It's 2004 and Latvia is officially part of the Cool Kids Club, complete with access to sweet EU funding and the freedom to move goods and people without jumping through a million bureaucratic hoops. This, my friends, is where the real fun begins. With the EU's help, Latvia's economy goes from zero to hero faster than you can say laku kuka. That's Latvian for bear cake, and yes, it's delicious. Foreign investment pours in, the job market starts looking less bleak, and Latvians are finally able to afford things like vacations and, food. Section 7. The 2008 crash, even Latvia couldn't escape this party foul. It's 2008, the global economy decides to throw itself a massive pity party, and guess who gets invited? That's right, everyone. Even little Latvia, with its newly minted EU membership card, can't escape the fallout. Remember that whole responsible adult thing Latvia was doing? Well, turns out the rest of the world skipped that memo. Banks are collapsing. Credit's drying up faster than a puddle in the Sahara, and Latvia's economy is like, wait, we were just starting to have fun. But here's the thing about Latvians, they're resilient. They've been through worse. Remember, they've stared down empires, economic meltdowns, and probably a few bears in their time. So what do? They buckle down, tighten their belts, figuratively of course, they still enjoy a good bear cake, and weather the storm. Section 8. From crisis to COVID, Latvia's economic tug-of-war. The years after the 2008 crash are a bit of a blur, kind of like that time you tried to eat an entire cheesecake in one sitting, no judgment. Latvia's economy slowly but surely clawed its way back from the brink, but just when things were starting to look up, bam! COVID-19 enters the chat. It's 2020, the world's gone full contagion mode, and Latvia, like everyone else, is scrambling to figure out how to keep its citizens safe and its economy from imploding. Lockdowns, travel restrictions, and general panic ensue. Remember that whole GDP nosedive thing from the 90s? Yeah, it's back, but this time it's wearing a hazmat suit and carrying hand sanitizer. But hey, at least Latvia's got experience dealing with this kind of thing, right? Section 9. Pandemic Pivot Latvia's 2020 Recovery Plan. Okay, so maybe comparing COVID-19 to the collapse of the Soviet Union is a bit of a stretch. But the point is, Latvia's no stranger to economic adversity. So when the pandemic hit, they did what they do best. They adapted. The government rolled out support measures faster than a squirrel after a nut, providing financial aid to businesses and individuals hit hard by the pandemic. They also embraced the digital revolution, with everything from doctor's appointments to parliamentary sessions moving online. And you know what? It worked! While Latvia's economy definitely took a hit in 2020, it bounced back faster than a rubber chicken in a wind tunnel. By 2021, they were back on track, proving that even a global pandemic can't keep a good Latvian economy down. Section 10. Latvia in 2023. Still standing, surprisingly. So, where does that leave Latvia in 2023? It's a question that many have pondered, especially given the country's tumultuous history and the challenges it has faced over the years. Well, in a word, resilient. Latvia has shown an incredible ability to bounce back from adversity time and time again. After surviving Vikings, empires, economic collapses, and a global pandemic, Latvia's economy is like that one friend who always shows up to the party, even when it's clearly over. Challenges remain, of course. The scars of history are still visible, but they serve as reminders of the strength and perseverance of the Latvian people. The war in Ukraine has sent shockwaves through the global economy, and Latvia is no exception. The geopolitical tensions have created a sense of uncertainty that looms over the nation. Inflation's up, energy prices are through the roof, and everyone's wondering what fresh hell awaits around the corner. The cost of living has become a significant concern for many Latvians as they navigate these turbulent times. But despite it all, there's a sense of cautious optimism in the air. The younger generation in particular is hopeful and determined to build a better future. Latvia's learned from its past, it's embraced the future, and it's ready to tackle whatever challenges come its way. The country is investing in technology and innovation, aiming to become a hub for startups and entrepreneurs. So the next time you see a bottle of Latvian salad dressing, take a moment to appreciate the economic roller coaster ride that little country has been on. Each product on the shelf tells a story of resilience and adaptation. It's a story of resilience, determination, and the occasional bear cake. The cultural heritage of Latvia is rich and vibrant, adding to the nation's unique charm. And frankly, that's something worth celebrating. So, raise a glass to Latvia, a small country with a big heart and an unbreakable spirit.